welcome to the episode number 13 of Embracing the Human Experience. I am Avinash.
And this is Mugdha, and welcome back to this show that we do with the effort and the attempt to kind of help it make it easier for you to navigate this entire thing called being a human and like the experience of a human life itself. We share our experiences, we share our learnings through life, and like the goal is that like for you guys it just becomes simpler through our experiences. We were just discussing how zoned out I've been, like maybe.
Yeah, so many of the times Mugdha gets zoned out and lose track of time, and that is what we're going to talk about today, the time itself.
Yeah.
Because time is so relative as well as so important, and it is especially it is only on this planet that I know of that we
actually did these two longer episodes before this, right?
Yeah.
Like 11 and 12, where we spoke about these keys that would increase flow in your life, that would make it easier for you to like just navigate this thing. And one of the keys, like actually the first one, because I was listening to the podcast yesterday, and like I was saying, I was wondering where all the wisdom comes from, like because
even I am surprised.
yeah, but if you listen to us speak, no, it's really like our wisest version.
Is this a me?
Yeah, because today you saw me throwing paper planes at people when we were trying to record an academy session. So that is who I am mostly, making paper planes and throwing it at my team. But turns out when we do this particular series of recordings, there's a lot of wisdom that flows. So in episode 11, we started off with like speaking about time as one of the keys, and there maybe we spoke for a couple of minutes around what is time, and today we are actually going to talk about time a little more in detail with usable tools and techniques that you could apply to your life, so that time management, I don't think time is management, I think time staying in touch with time, real time.
Time is more of an experience.
Experience, right? So that your experience of time is something that is more useful for you. So that's what we're going to talk about. So going back to the first, like the question itself, like why is it important? What is time? Like even forget why. What is time?
Yeah, I know. Time is such a phenomena, I call it. It's not a quantity, it's not a scalar quantity or a vector quantity. It is a phenomena. It is something which we have conceived ourselves, the way we look at time, the way we see time as a humans. We have been able to put lots of numbers and digits and time zones and all those things around how Earth rotates or revolve around itself, how it rotates around the sun, and we have been able to successfully divide that time. And that makes it easier for us to understand where we are going. Now, as a human being, we are made of different forms. Like the densest one, you can see the physical form, the body itself. Then there is a energy being, the emotion being. We are a mental being as well. And at the core, we are a spiritual being.
Yeah.
So all these are energy form, but this physical densest form is one which is most connected to the time itself, because your spiritual being is like Ajram, it can go on forever.
It is timeless, no? It is eternal.
It is timeless, it is eternal. But this physical being, in terms of the time you are born, that is if you assume that as a time zero, and the day it is going to perish, the day it is going to get over, that is the time of your death. So this entire length of time, as we say, is the number of experiences that you are creating for yourself through this body. So these number of experiences, these moments, these infinite moments within that given period of time, we call it the experiences.
That's what we are measuring, basically.
That we are measuring, basically.
The measurable thing is the measurement of your like first breath to last breath. That's all.
That's all. That's the time. Now we have created philosophies around it. I am sure lots of people have done PhD around what time is.
But that's relative time, no? Relative to you. What about the absolute time of like the Big Bang and the cosmos expanding and all of that?
Absolute time doesn't exist as far as my understanding goes. That you can relate to your spiritual being. Your spiritual being is infinite, it is eternal, it is not going to get over. If you want to, observe a particular section of your soul or your spirit, you can observe from one place to another. But again, your faculty needs to be developed to actually comprehend that kind of concept itself. So your spiritual being is infinite. There is no year 2000 BC or 100 AD. There is nothing. There is absolutely, it's like a constant. And in this physical form, you are able to experience a part of that entire journey. And that journey is timeless, that journey is eternal, it is not going to get over. So if you look at time from the universe perspective, that is what your spiritual perspective, it is, you can't measure it. It's not measurable in the sense we understand, like number of days, years, light years, or whatever quantity you want to put. It is going to go on. Like it's like infinite. Other day we were watching that a documentary about being infinite. So infinite plus anything is also infinite. So we can't even measure infinite
Right.
as such. So time is infinite. Time is not going to get over. Time is not going to go anywhere. But in this physical form, we always talk about time in terms
So then
of
why? Because if time is infinite and if it's not
For the
going anywhere,
spiritual
so
being.
why?
For the
Why
spiritual
should you even bother like keeping
Exactly.
track of time, right? Like
so
why?
when you're deeply connected like you with your spiritual being, that kind of distraction can happen. Okay, your spiritual being taking over your physical being, and you lose track of time. Okay, it doesn't matter.
Take over.
Whatever. I mean, that becomes interaction become much more closer and denser as compared to lesser human being like me, who are definitely separated from physical being to a spiritual being. So we can make more sense of time in the physical form itself. So if you look at time from the spiritual perspective, the most of the time that you do, it is eternal. It doesn't matter how much time you're spending taking a bath, or how much time you're spending doing meditation, or how much time you're spending, talking to birds.
Even the word spending doesn't feel right.
Exactly.
Because when I'm there, like what you call as bath, I'm just like with the element of water, right? Like I'm just experiencing the flow of water and how it just washes away things, and how every molecule of water that's there on this planet has been there on this planet, right? Like no spaceship from outside comes and puts more water here. It's like just the same water that the dinosaurs drank, that's still coming through PMC pipes for me to take a bath, right? So I become part of that elemental nature of water. And that's not spending, that's integrating, right? Or even like meditation is like,
Ultimately, your spiritual being is supposed to integrate itself with the nature around it and experience this beauty forever without bothering about the time. What comes in between is this physical form, which is designed to self-destruct. It is designed to, perish at some point of time. You may extend it, you may prolong it, you may live up to say 200 years. Some people may live up to 50 years. But it has been designed to disintegrate. It has been designed to merge.
I don't think it's been designed to disintegrate. I think it disintegrates and decays because of the impact of the environment on it. Because otherwise, as a cell, there's like the possibility of eternal regeneration. I mean, that's what the yogis have attempted to do, right? So I don't necessarily think the body is designed to disintegrate, break down, and decay. It is the nature of the reality that we live in that causes that decay. But I understand what you're saying is that basically if we lose track of time in this reality, then we are losing track of the pace of the decay also.
Yeah.
And then your ability to utilize the time in a, where you're at an optimal best, like where you can use that time with all the energy and everything that the body can give you, you might lose that. I think that's what
your ability to use that time to create experiences, create those moments. The soul wants those moments. The spiritual being wants those moments, those experiences, as many as possible. So it is a spiritual being wants us to live forever.
So that be here now is about like now use whatever you have to create an experience.
So that your spiritual being feels happy or sad or whatever.
Instead of waiting for retirement.
Instead of waiting, I will go to the beach when I become 15-year-old or 20-year-old. So the spiritual being wants to integrate with the nature itself at the outset, like it likes that nature. So what happens with yogis now, whatever my understanding of them being very close to their spiritual being. So for them that body and spiritual being, difference between these two entities, the gap remains, it's very small as compared to people like us who are like totally segregated from our spiritual being, and there are many people who are not even aware of their spiritual being. For them the entire existence is in the body.
It's very physical, and then the decay is very, very fast and
very fast, and and you can't make sense of it. What are you doing here? That is the spiritual being asking you a question. That question is not heard by them in the first place. So whatever they are experiencing, it's very ephemeral, it's very superficial. What you're supposed to experience as a spirit. So in that form, you're supposed to experience the nature on this planet, supposed to experience the beauty of this place, supposed to experience the emotions of this place.
And relationships.
All these things will come from emotions, experiences, or beauty. Everything will come from all sorts of relationship that you have with people, places, things of this planet, the natural things. So the time, in a sense, what
Why do you have a heart stuck on you?
I know, I'm all made of love.
Okay, anyway.
So when we want to, measure time, or when we want to integrate with a time, or we want to establish a kind of relationship with the time as a one of the things, not I'm not going to use metrics. I was about to use matrix. Okay, we are not going to talk about one of the things that help you navigate on this planet. It is very important to understand time from the physical being point of view. Okay, you are going to perish at some point. You are not as close to your spiritual being like yogis or all those people who live like thousands of years. We are not. So as a physical being, what do you do with the whatever time limit has been set on your body? That is the only thing you can experience.
And I think for me, what I've really felt about this, right, is like when I lose track of time, there's a cost, there's an opportunity cost. What I mean by that is, okay, I'm having an experience of like integrating with the elements, being one with water, or like being part of the landscape with trees and squirrels and birds and earthworms. But if I don't end that experience at a particular time so that I can be in another experience in the next moment, there's a opportunity cost there. What I mean by that is,
so you create one experience, you miss out on another.
Yeah, and see, for me, all of them are beautiful, right? Like now I've come to a point where everything is created by choice. I am choosing what I want to be part of, except for a few stray things which other people, like where the boundaries are not fixed and then other people come and interfere, but that's very, very rare. Even with that, I now have the sense of power to say, okay, this is not okay in my reality, right? So most of my reality is constructed around my choices. So none of the experiences are really experiences I don't want to have.
Yes.
But I have this vision of creating a planet free of lifestyle diseases. I have this vision of creating a company that's going to be a gold standard, a benchmark in how companies are run. We have quite a few arguments in the core team meeting when it comes to like the culture and the choices I make for culture versus the choices that you think should be made for productivity and operational efficiency, right? So like that's one of the visions, right? Like I really want to create a company that's predominantly run on love. I want to create a company that really does well as a business also in terms of the revenue and the valuation and everything. Now if these are my desires, and if I invest all my time in experiencing nature and the elementals and all, while that experience is not bad, these will remain unfilled. Like there will be a lost opportunity here because the time is not coming back. If I'm not in office at 9, if I'm still on the mountain at 9, then 9 to 10, whatever I could have done in office, that opportunity is lost. So to me, that is what I really, like that's become my relationship with time, right? Okay, if I'm putting time here, and maybe this time if I put somewhere else, it can grow and expand and give more exponential output, and that's what I have.
So you're being a little greedy here, like you want to experience that, you want to create this, and oftentimes we talk about you be making clones of you so that you can experience many things
Yes.
simultaneously within the same set of 65 years that you have decided to be on this planet. So we are as a physical being, we are only one. We can't be in different places. We can't have different experiences at the same moment. So you have to choose based on your wisdom, your knowledge, your logic, which experience I want to have. Whether I want to be with the elements, or whether you want to create a planet free of lifestyle disease and work towards it. Maybe you can find a balance between managing these two, and you've been doing it fairly successfully, I would say.
Yeah,
You're doing
I
well.
am
You're
doing
it
well, but I still struggle. Like I'm always like 3 to 4 minutes late. Like I'm never like out of like the 22 working days, I might be here exactly at 9 o'clock 5 days. The remaining 17 days I'm here at 9:03, 9:05, 9:06.
And those 5 days you're with me.
No, not always. Some days I come on my own. Some days I come before you and you're surprised.
Yes.
But anyway, so I mean, we can speak about your and my relationship to time for longer. But what I really want to share with the person, anyone who's watching, listening to this, is more actual practical application, right? Because a lot of people struggle with this. There are very few who are like you. There are more who are like me, where we struggle with like actually being on time. Like I'm never late for consults, I'm never late for client meetings, I'm never late for any of those things. But everyone could do with a better understanding and being more efficient around time, right? So where does one start?
I know. I mean, I'll share a small story of my life with you. Like I was fan of wristwatches. Like I had all those handmade, Swiss-made Cartier kind of watches with me. A collection of watches, all expensive, all big one. As the bigger the better. And I used to be always late wherever I.
Really?
Yeah.
You used to be late?
Means with the surrounding. Like the watch was important, not the time.
But you used to be late
Yeah.
to meetings and stuff like that. Are you serious?
Yes, it happens. It happens with everyone. So what you understand time is what is written in the mobile clock, or what is written on your expensive wristwatches, or what is written on your fancy wall clocks. That is not what time is. Time is what are the things which are important to you, and how you're going to accomplish that in a day, whatever day you have designed for yourself. Now, a lot of people use this time very effectively. You must have seen all these great people. They have very, fixed schedule about something. These are non-negotiable things. I'm not going to negotiate on this. So, to large extent, I follow that. Some things are non-negotiable. Getting up at 5 in the morning is 99% of the time is non-negotiable, unless I am very late for some reason in the night. Or doing my workout in the morning is non-negotiable. That cannot change, come what may. So all these things. So when you create set of things that are non-negotiable, and then you allocate a certain amount of time to it. So you're not allocating time as per the watch, you are allocating time as per your choices or your preferences or the importance you give it to them.
So do you do this? Do you create these non-negotiables for the day? Do you create them for life? Do you create them for the month? Where does one begin? You start with planning your day, you start with planning what you want out of life.
So I start my day with what is important to me for the day.
For the day?
For the day.
So you always plan only for the next day?
Only for the day. You can't, I have a longer term goal, like I want to do Ironman after 3 years.
Yeah, that's what I'm asking,
towards
right?
that direction, what are the things I need to do? So there is one long term vision.
But you had the long term goal first, na?
Yes.
First you made something far off in the future, then you took the immediate future, which is the next
day. So at micro level, the long term goal is to, because of me, no one should wait. That is the underlying principle.
In your life?
In my life.
Like you should not cause delays anywhere else?
Anywhere else. So that has become a subconscious desire itself. This is what I want to achieve in this life. I should be
This is like your life vision.
This is
in
my
terms
life
of
vision.
time.
So my biological clock also supports me in that vision. Even if I am not using clock, or I am not putting on alarm some days, or wherever I am going, whether entirely new city, new country, I am most of the time, like 95%, 99% of the time, I am always on time. Because my body tells me it is in alignment with the universal clock. So it doesn't matter which country I am in. So time zone changes doesn't impact. The new places doesn't bother me. The topography of that place, how I'm going to reach that place doesn't matter. I am always there whenever I'm supposed to be there. So it starts with that subconscious desire to be in alignment with the biological clock of this planet, because that biological clock is what your time is all about. It is not in your watches, it is not in your phone, or it is not in your wall clocks. Your biology is going to decide the time. This is the time you have, how you're going to use it. Now break it down into years, break it down into days, break it down into moments, and then subsequently break it down into experiences.
And then you created a 3-year goal, which is the Ironman.
Yeah, so I took out a segment of that biological clock of mine. Between 48 to 51 years of age, I want to target something.
Okay.
So that will create different kind of experience for me. Now, what am I supposed to do that? I have to make money. So build your life around making money and practicing for Ironman, and then getting your health back on time, working for creating even more experiences within that time. So all these things are relative to the entire biological clock. I am going to be here for 65 years.
You're going to be here for X number of years. In that, primarily what you want to do is do not want anyone to wait.
Yes.
Now, in those 65 years, you have chunks from 48 to 51, 51 to 55, whatever you have determined those chunks. And in that one chunk, what is the end outcome you want is what you've determined.
Exactly.
And because that chunk is 3 years into the future, right? Like that's something you're going to do at 51.
Yeah.
So to accomplish that goal, what are the things you need to do from today?
Yes.
Is what you kind of mapped. And then once you know that, you create the day schedule for the next year. So now in the day schedule, like Ironman is your goal for the next, within like the goal at 51 is to complete the Ironman.
Right.
Now if someone thinks of the Ironman, it's primarily an endurance event of running, swimming and cycling. So one would then think that your entire day for the next 3 years is going to be invested in running, swimming and cycling to build yourself.
Exactly.
But that's not what you're doing, no? You're also working full time.
Exactly. So why am I working?
No, I don't know. I don't know why you're working. Why are you working?
So once you have decided what do you want to do with your life within that short period of time, 3 years. Okay, I want to run an Ironman. So I want to do an Ironman. So what are the things that you need? You need to practice. You need to learn. You need to make money to buy those resources.
Okay.
To afford those resources. Now, how do you make money? So everything is broken down into something which is going into that direction. So all the things that I'm going, somewhere or the other, back of the mind, that calculation is there. I'm going to trade 2 hours of my time talking to a client who is going to pay me.
Okay.
Then that payment will be used to, achieve my goal.
Got it.
So that goal can be anything. I just give you an example of Ironman. It can be anything.
No, it's a very tangible goal. No? It's like
I want to build a house. So I'm not going to, start making bricks. I'm going to use the skills that I have to make some form of energy. I'll exchange that energy with a brick maker. Okay, I'll give you my time, you give me bricks. So with that time you can learn so many things, or you can do something else.
Right.
Or I can write a code for you, or you can make a software program, or whatever skills that you
Right.
have. So that is how the exchange happens. All the time there is an exchange which is happening. Underlying thing is it is in alignment with your biological clock. It is not, you're supposed to be asleep in the night. I am not trading that time to make more money so that I can buy a new bicycle.
So without compromising on your biological clock, which is actually the original time that you have, like as long as your body is alive is the only way you'll have time. So without compromising on your biological clock, the available time that you have is what you're making chunks out of. How do you determine? You said you're not saying work out at 7 o'clock. You're saying an hour of swimming every day until Ironman.
Whatever.
So that decision making, how does one do, right? Like you had taught me this, you had taught the team also the bucket method, right?
So
you create buckets of time. Can you elaborate on that, the entire bucket principle of time?
So what happens now, whenever you want to do something, like I just give you an example of Ironman, I'll just repeat that. You want to do an Ironman, so what are the things that you need to do an Ironman? You need to build your body, you need to make money to buy those resources, you need to create experiences at the same time. You just can't be doing Ironman because you're not.
Then your girlfriend would be very frustrated.
Exactly. So you're supposed to cook for yourself, you're supposed to cook for your girlfriend, celebrate birthdays, celebrate moment, travel, go around places, see, develop, grow, learn. So many things are happening simultaneously, all those 12, 13 areas of growth that we talk about. So you have to allocate time for each of these areas. So you make a list of things that you are supposed to do to achieve your overall objective and overall growth of you as a person on all the beings, not only your physical being. I am not obsessed about building a body. I want to be mentally fit at the same time. I want to be emotionally available. I want to be spiritually connected all the time. So if I have these desires, then what are things I am doing to cater to all my needs for different forms of me. So I make a list of things that I am supposed to do to cater to all these needs. For mental well-being, I am supposed to do meditation. So that becomes a part of my routine.
But you don't meditate.
I am just giving an example.
Okay.
For spiritual being, I need to talk to you, right? To satisfy my spiritual desires. So those things, I make a list of things. See, okay, to earn certain amount of money, I need to put in certain amount of hours of work. So I'll make a list of that thing. Now, once you agree that this is what you're doing for yourself, then the task become easy. If you're not working, I'm not working for you or Thrive, I'm working for myself, for my goal, for my desire, then the 8 hours become like huge chunk of time.
Okay.
I can achieve so many things because I'm doing it for me. It never tires me, it never makes me demotivated, it never makes me feel what am I doing here, because I know at the end of it, if we go down into the root cause analysis wala thing, I am doing it for me. If I am doing it for me, I should enjoy it. If I am not enjoying it, I should stop doing it. So once you make a list of things that you are doing for yourself, then you prioritize those things within the available time slot that you have, and then you allocate different time zones based on your day's availability or day's schedule. So it is easier when we know the workflow, the kind of work you do, the kind of the working hours or the kind of nature of your work.
So I think even before someone attempts to manage time, having clarity on what is it that you want to do, which is nothing to do with time management or how many hours and all. What is it that you want to do, and actually what are you doing through the day in terms of your workflow? It is important for you to know that. Then you can actually start figuring out how are you going to play with time to make this more and more efficient. Now, what you added, see, I'm like professionally, I've not been late, even before I met you, right? Like at work and all, I've always, never have I been late for meetings or something. It's more of the flow stuff where I lose sense of time. But what you did helped me a lot. I think this was 2.5 years ago that you taught this system of creating buckets, where you first asked me to make a list of all the things I'm doing and all the things I'm supposed to do. Because the angst or the feeling of something is missing, something is wrong, or my time is not being managed well, was happening because of the gap between what I was doing and what I'm supposed to do. Right? Like I personally felt I should be doing XYZ things, but I didn't have time to do those things because I was doing ABC things. Exactly. So the first thing I had to do was like, what am I doing in my day, right? Where and all, what are the activities I'm doing in my day? What are the things I should be doing if I really want to accomplish a particular goal, which could be like a monthly revenue goal or a team growth goal, or could be anything, right? Then what I did with what you had taught was start creating buckets for how much time do I want to allocate to each activity. Whether it's like client coaching, or whether it's sales, or whether it's marketing, or whether it's operations, or learning something new, or physical fitness, or connecting with source like meditation. How much time did I want to allocate to each of these things, right? So that's the second thing you asked me to do. Then actually came the more tangible stuff of when should I be doing these things. Now I couldn't assume like, okay, I wanted to meditate for an hour, but to think of meditating for an hour maybe from 1 to 2 was practically not possible, because that's when so many people in office and everything was happening, right? So meditation can happen early morning before I go for my workout, or after I come from my workout before I start getting ready for office. Workouts also, the best option for me was pre-office. So like that, then I think once I made these buckets of what I wanted to do, then like Lego blocks, I was like, I wake up at 5 easily without compromising on sleep, and I'm awake until 9:30, 10. So 5 a.m. to 10 p.m. is the time I have that I'm available. So this Lego block will go here, this Lego block will go here, right? Like literally like fitting puzzle pieces together. and then saying this is how my day is going to look like. Now what I had initially attempted to do when you taught this was like put exact, right, like okay, meditation from 6 a.m. to 7 a.m. and then like drink water for 5 minutes and then like get dressed for gym and 7:15 leave for gym and 7:30 to 8:30 workout. I tried doing that and it was a horrible miserable failure because I don't run like that. So what I did instead now is like knowing approximately after I wake up at 5 how much time do I need to kind of like just freshen up and everything.
Even the time to just loiter around
and just like maybe roll around in bed for 5, so whatever, right? So just instead of becoming very dictatorial about exactly the minute and obsessing over the watch, I kind of started understanding how much, like what is the overall quantum that is needed each place, and then I'm just flowing from one to another.
It becomes a flow rather than...
Only thing is when I go for a bath, I completely lose track, right? Like otherwise I'm on time, like everything is done. Meditation, workout, listening to a podcast, eating something, everything is done, and then okay, I have half an hour to take a bath and just leave for office, and office is like 1 minute away literally for me, right? And I go and then suddenly I'm hearing the reminder that opening circle in 5 minutes. I'm like, what? How did this happen? So I still lose track there. But even with the morning walks...
Keep provision for the losing of track also. It's okay. It can still be accommodated.
So I still come here. I reach office at like not exactly 9. I'm still here by 9:03, 9:04, 9:05, which is okay.
You don't have to be very stickler about all these that is dictatorial, as you rightly said. That is not how.
Then there's no fun. There is
so
a lot of stress.
Be our relationship with time. It should be little flexible. At the same time, you should also consider that at every moment that you are losing out, you are giving way to some new experience. You are missing out on something new
else,
or something different.
Exactly.
So that is where we have to make that choice. Whether I want to have this experience of water falling on my body, or I want to meet new people and see what exciting things can be done.
Or what Bollywood music you're playing that particular morning in office.
You can guess.
He picks the worst 80s Hindi movie songs.
No, I pick actually appropriate songs for that.
They're the worst. They are literally the worst. One day there was that some Bharat wala song on a Monday morning.
Happy birthday.
No, it was not happy. But anyway, so you get to choose, right? So what are the things you're doing? What are the things you think you should be doing or you want to do instead? What is the lost cost of opportunity because of the gap between these two? What is it costing you because of this gap? And then how do you create a series of buckets from all the things that you think you should be doing or you want to do? Create those buckets. See how much of real time you actually have without compromising on sleep. Then in that available time that you have, you start fitting in these buckets like Lego pieces, allowing flow to happen between them.
That
right?
flow is very important. Otherwise, you can just put, okay, I want to do, I want to study for 4 hours. And definitely you're not going to focus on that 4 hours, only studying things or only watching things or only learning things. So you have to create those blocks also based on what is your temperament, how amenable are to these kind of sitting at one place or moving around. So maybe you can just add those few pieces in between to make it like a flow rather than rigid blocks. We are not creating a watertight compartments. So that allows us
because this entire thing is about flow.
So that allows us to flow freely, think freely. Your movement or your biological clock is in alignment with the universal design or nature's design. So that is what creates that harmony. So when the earth is moving, your body, your mind, your spiritual being is in alignment with that movement. It is not that you are walking in the night and sleeping through the day. That is not how earth is moving. That is not how the earth is designed to move. That is not how your body is aligned to do that.
Actually, a lot of people ask me, how do I do so many things, right? Because even like the group where we were like together for studying more of the spiritual work, right? Like, so these are people from US and Australia and all, and we recently had a group call, and like they are just seeing me very active on social media, and they're like, wow, how do you even have the time, right? So I was asking myself this question, like if you compare all the stuff I do on any single day, I'm Meditating, I'm doing some form of bodily workout, like whether walking or like in the gym with Kashish or yoga. I'm listening and learning to some podcast.
You're attending consults.
I am attending consults, I'm working with clients, I am doing a lot of work around like social media, marketing, I am part of like the entire team also, like every team I really kind of understand what each team is doing. I'm very integrated with that, and I still have time after 5 p.m. for a personal life. Where it's time with you, where
go
it's
to the daily essential and
like we go grocery shopping, we do really random stuff, like it's just fun, relaxed mat time, movies, and like sometimes events with the team, right? So people really think that success is equal to somebody being like a complete hustler and like just no time and being like absolute like just stressed. And someone asked me, how are you doing this, right? Like how can you only work 9 to 5 and do so much?
yes.
And I think it's because for me, my mind gives me the energy. Like, see, spiritual stuff, I have to just connect once a day and then I'm sorted for the rest of the day. That connection is there through the day, right? But it's my mind that really gets excited about all of these things. I derive a lot of joy and happiness, and then my reality bends and creates space for it.
Yes.
Right, like
That
it
is
just
what happens.
it just creates space for all of these things to happen because I'm really doing them because it's fun to do, right? Like it's I'm not planning my next day in
Yeah,
advance.
it is in sync with the natural design.
Yeah.
It is in sync with the natural design.
And I don't feel exhausted, right? Like I sleep because it's time to sleep. My body is like I need to rest.
True.
But I'm not going to bed drained and saying what a fucked up day and everything, right? Even if there's conflict. Even that feels like part of the flow, right? It doesn't feel stressful for me. So that's how I do everything I do. Like
Conflict is a kind of speed breaker. Okay, just stop, pause,
Yeah.
slow down, then navigate.
yeah, or
that
maybe you
and-
have to change direction. No? So it's all good. Conflict is never a bad thing. I have no resentment against conflict either.
So I think that's all from our side.
Yeah, so basically how do you really good at understanding time and using it to create more flow? Like step-by-step instructions is first create a list of all the things you're doing right now. Second, create a list of all the things you should be doing or you want to do. Otherwise, you wouldn't have this question about time management in the first place.
Yes.
Third is then create the list of the opportunity cost, right? Like what are you losing out on because there's a gap between what you're doing versus what you should be doing. Then create buckets of time for all the things you want to be doing, right? Like what are the things I want to do through my day? See how much waking time you have without losing out on your sleep, and then put these buckets in those waking hours, and you'll be able to do everything you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
That's it. That's how you manage time.
It's very easy actually.
You don't manage time, you just build a better relation. Like time doesn't like being managed. It's such a powerful force. If you say I'm going to manage time, time will say fuck you.
I'm moving on. You do
You'll
whatever.
be like मैं समय हूँ in that like very समय वाला आवाज.
Yeah, I'm going. I'm going. You do whatever.
You try and sit and manage me. I am moving on. So you never try to manage anything in life, whether it's people or whether it's your emotions or anything. You don't manage relationships.
Diseases.
You don't manage diseases. You like diseases, so you reverse. But like with other stuff, you are in flow. You're in sync. You're like understanding it. You're building a relationship with it. You're getting curious about it. And that curiosity is what really gives you more knowledge about it, and you learn more about it, and you get better with it,
Yes.
not at it.
So time is a fantastic. What do we say? Energy.
Force, energy, elemental.
Element, or whatever you want to call it. It's a beautiful concept on this planet. It gives us some idea ki how much time you have. Everyone has an idea ki this is the time we have.
It makes things tangible actually.
Yeah. And within that time, whatever has been allocated on an average, you can see how beautiful memories or moments you can create for yourself and for others. And that is what the purpose of time is all about, creating those moments. And
For me, honestly, the like one is the vision and all of that. That's more of the tangible thing. But if I had to, like your subconscious desire is to not make anyone wait, right? My subconscious, conscious unconscious soul level desire is to just find a way to kind of make it way back to home, right?
Yes.
Like utilize all my time that I have left on this planet to do things in a way that I start getting closer and closer to what I call home.
So I don't have that luxury.
Yeah. But yeah, that's what it is.
So thank you guys for watching this podcast of ours. I hope we are able to make some positive contribution into your life. That is what this time we have traded for from our life. Do follow us on social media. We are soon coming up with our website on embracing the human experience. Till then, you can log into mugdhapradan.com to know more about what we do.
Is that website ready? I don't know. But you can follow me on Instagram. I'm my hashtag handle, whatever is not hashtag, what is it? Handle is Mugdha Pradhan. And thank you so much for trading your time to watch both of us speak.
Yes.
We love doing this. I actually eventually want to create more and more content around this.
And whatever we do, just to share a secret with you, it's all spontaneous. We don't prepare. We just sit in the morning, okay, what are you going to talk about? And it flows like Mugdha.
Sometimes we don't even sit in the morning. Sometimes we just, these guys set up the cameras, we just come and sit here and like, kya baat karenge? We'll just start talking. So
I think it is coming from some other place. Maybe it will benefit all of you someday.
If not now, then when we are dead, for sure.
Yes, sure.
Alright. Chalo, bye bye until next time on that morbid thought.
Yes.